Welcome to Overseasoned.
It's only going to take one take.
I actually kicked him out of the restaurant.
Why?
Gotta bitch to someone.
Gotta bitch to somebody, and I'm good to bitch to.
I thought you were from Spain.
Yes, I am.
Oh.
Sí soy.
Gotcha.
Soy chorizo.
Oh, no.
You've gone into Martha Stewart land.
It's good. It's just not live.
Whatever.
Okay.
It's like a scene from Cocoon. Like the sun goes down.
You don't want to get blacklisted.
You know what, Mr. President? Is this what you want? Overseasoned. We are back at Velvet Studios in Bogota, Colombia.
Nice. We're getting this down.
Yes. Excited to be here with you, Tony. I think...
Glad we can make it happen. It was a little bit of an impromptu visit down here to Bogota this time.
Well, you know, that's what we're all about. You know what I mean? Restaurant people unite. We're going to do everything we can to get through service. No?
Sure. That's exactly what it felt like on that 10-hour plane ride yesterday, for sure.
Well, we've had... we're already in, I guess, these recordings are for... Well, we're at the end of June. End of June. End of January. We're in 2025. We had...
Well, the date today is...
The turn of the year. Today is the 22nd.
Today is the 22nd.
I believe
in the year of our Lord, 2025.
It's the year of our Lord.
Isn't it always?
I guess it is.
Yeah.
And I believe this will be released out to the overseasoned nation sometime in the first part of February.
It has to do that kind of
This
math.
is some fresh content.
Yes.
And the turn of the year brought some fun experiences for us.
Yes.
And we're really excited. Look, let's just start by saying this poor city, San Francisco, gets a lot of slack. Is slack the right word?
Flack.
Flack, right. They get a lot of flack.
Nobody cuts it any slack.
And nobody cuts it any slack, except for the people that work at Slack.
Shit is whack.
It's whack. And, you know, unfortunately, the streets are riddled with crack. But we're going to bring it back. Because we're sick of all...
You can do it. You can do it.
Damn, I was almost there.
Your career as a rapper just faded.
You know what? Okay, that's fair.
Cool.
That's fair. But yeah, we had a...
You were there over New Year's for quite some time, right?
Yeah, I got to spend some time there. We got so it was a really eye-opening time. And... I think we're going to give San Francisco all of its due props because every time I go, at least, back to San Francisco, I'm reminded of what a beautiful and incredibly diverse and exciting place San Francisco is. Does it have its shortcomings? I think we all know this.
Don't we all?
Don't we all?
So how many days were you there for?
I think it was 5 days in total.
Okay, I missed you because I was there for... I had planned on having a longer trip after I left Reno for Christmas. And I was only there for a day and a half or two, but you were there for, would you say 5 days?
I was there, I think 5 or 6 days.
You got a good
I got a nice
representation.
chunk of San Francisco. And let me start by saying, there's very few cities in the world that smell like San Francisco. Now, I'm not going on a negative tangent with this. It's something about there is like this gum tree, like eucalyptus scent.
Sure. Eucalyptus for sure. Always get that. And then mixed with the sourdough.
Yeah.
Bakeries.
There's really like when you land in San Francisco, it's got this
freshness.
Like a foggy freshness. Yeah, it's like the sea air. It's the eucalyptus. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of, at least while you're not down in the city. If you're not downtown, things are really good. It smells good. And, I think we both got to experience...
Such an odd thing. Okay, go for it.
Well, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like
it's just how your mind processes
That's
things.
Correct, yes.
Right.
And so we got a chance to really see a few different things about San Francisco.
Did you drive there or fly there? Because you went to Reno first.
Okay, so we had our corporate meetup in Reno. And I drove...
Where do we have for dinner in Reno? Where do we eat in Reno? I can't remember. Oh, we went to... I can't remember the name of it.
I can't remember either, but it was like a tapas restaurant, right?
Yeah.
Loosely
Tapas-ish.
put. Tapas-ish, yeah. Tapas in the United States is just
Small plates.
Yes. Food cost winners. Small plates that all people can fight over. It was actually a good It was a good restaurant.
Right. It was a business meeting, so we weren't really.
Yeah, but like teriyaki and
There was teriyaki?
There was a
I missed that.
No, you got one.
I got stuffed with the fried artichoke hearts.
What are you complaining about fried
No,
artichoke?
but it was just I didn't know there was teriyaki also.
There was a teriyaki sesame rib or something. Don't you remember?
Oh yes, I do remember that. That was tasty. So
Tapa.
anyway, quick trip to Reno.
Tapa.
You're on your
Anyway.
way to San Francisco.
So it all started with a drive over the pass, which everybody was warning me in Reno was going to be like some insurmountable drive and that I might need chains and all that stuff. And thankfully, the weather cooperated. I got through the pass.
I almost needed chains when I went a
Really?
few days later. Yes, I missed it by maybe an hour.
Yeah, so
Needing the chains. It was dicey for a while.
are they the Sierra Nevada mountains?
Mm-hmm.
The Sierra Nevada mountains essentially split Nevada from California. You truck through Truckee, get over these mountains and through the pass. What's it called? The Donner Pass?
Where they ate the people.
Is that what it is?
The Donner Party.
The
Do you know the stories about the Donner Party?
No.
Where they got stuck in the snow and they, you know, it's like ate each other.
It's Donner, not Dahm.
No, it's D-O-N. D. It's true.
That's why it's like throws me off.
D-O-N-N-E-R.
Donner,
Yes.
not Dahmer.
No.
Which both were eating
You didn't
people.
know that story?
You want to tell us real quick?
Well, you got the gist of it. It was like log cabin days, you know?
Log cabin days.
Right.
Oh, so they would just like pounce on unsuspecting like Lewis and Clark peeps and just
No, they got stuck. The Donner Party.
Oh, when
got
they started
stuck.
eating each other?
Yes.
Got it. So it was okay.
It was like that, you know, the airplane in the Andes.
Consensual cannibalism.
thing. I don't know if it's consensual if the other person's dead.
Whatever.
You know what I mean?
That's
How
what
can you
hot sauce
consent?
is for. So I made it to San Francisco and had a wonderful time. And let me start by saying, it's beautiful. San Francisco's got these. I mean, of course, it's picturesque. There's these beautiful up and down hills and the water.
Fog rolling in. I like how
the
navigatable
bay.
the city is.
The city's
You know?
navigatable. There's like the waves are crashing. The wharf is beautiful. The pier is
Sea lions.
beautiful.
Honking, whatever they do.
Yeah, I for the first time I got to see the sea lions. You know, cool.
Wasn't your thing.
I check it off a box,
Yeah.
but I mean, to me, it's like I don't know. I don't get the big deal. Cool, whatever. There's a bunch of like big dogs
So
barking at
everything
each
but
other.
everything but the sea lions. Where
No,
was the
the-
first place that you ate? How did you make your list of restaurants to eat at?
So our good friend and overseasoned listener, Adrian Roche, was kind enough to put together like some incredible details that were all part and factored in because she is a lifelong San Franciscan. She lives in Marin. Not that I'm trying to give away too many of her secrets, so that you know what I mean. But more importantly, she is like a badass. She's been in the restaurant scene for a long time, and I think that she has really a pulse on what's going on out there. And she gave me some incredible recommendations. So thank you, Adrian. So first, I think the first thing you always want to check off the box is some sort of Italian. I feel like San Francisco does such a good job with Italian food. And so the first place I actually visited with Adrian was a place called Cifico. And that's a pizza, pasta restaurant. It was delicious. It was busy. It had a good vibe to it. And we had a great bottle of AR Pepe Valtellina. And I tried all kinds of delicious stuff. So that was the first place we went. And then the next...
Wait, what did you order?
We got like a really nice beet salad. We got some salmon crudo. We got... I'm trying to think off the top of my head here. No.
This is why you take so many photos.
I mean, I can go back.
No,
but
you don't have to go
no, Chafiko was a great restaurant, recommended. Like I said, it's like an Italian restaurant that's about vibe, and food is incredible. Service was very, very good. They had a really good wine list, and ultimately, really happy with the experience. So Chafiko, but then there's other things in San Francisco that I think are just like you can't miss. And the first one I always call out that you went to and I went to was Yank Sing. Yank Sing is essentially like an old school dim sum restaurant, but they do it from top to bottom. Like, it's incredible. Like, for starters, like, just to watch the dance that happens across the entire dining room, from the servers to the carts that they roll around with dim sum, it's kind of like a lost art. I feel like, I mean, I don't know many restaurants in the country, in the world, that do the rolling cart dim sum.
Dim sum restaurants.
Where?
Lost art. What do you mean where?
Where?
Any dim sum place. Well,
no.
There are certain ones that, you check the box and stuff like that, but that's, if they have the space, they're rolling the carts around.
Yeah. So, yes. So,
wait, you think that's a lost art, the dim sum carts?
Yes. I mean, look, in most places you go to, Florida.
Oh.
Philly.
Got it.
Even.
Okay.
Even when we're in the Philippines and stuff, they're not rolling around these carts. You
yeah,
can
those
order
are more
dim
like
sum.
not dim sum restaurants. They're Chinese food restaurants that have a few dim sum options, I think, usually.
I don't know, man. I've never experienced like dim sum carts like there are at Yank Sing, and I love that you get to look at the food before they come on. Before they put them on your table.
Sure.
And they'll have the fried cart, which will be like fried crab claws and fried shrimp. Then they'll have a steamed cart, which will be...
The quality at Yang Sing is certainly, like, fantastic.
It's awesome.
It's kind of... We went through as well with a party, and everyone's, like, trying not to eat that last one because of the lazy Susan spinning around. You're like, I don't want to take the last one, but you can just keep grabbing more plates. Just keep grabbing more plates. That's what I like about it.
I agree. Well, and the thing that was... so I remember the first time I ever went was with another overseas listener and a great bud, Aaron Patrick. He was living in San Francisco for like 15 years, and he's like, we have to go to Yank Sing, and actually talked to him before going on our trip to San Francisco, and he's like, please. Like, he had a list of places for me to go to as a part of like, I have to check in with him and let him know how they went. But Yank Sing is the shit. And one thing...
Do you do the chili sauce or the hot mustard?
Both.
Yeah. Both mixed together, or you have specific dim sum for the specific...
No. So, and that's exactly what I wanted to touch on. So, Tony and I have been experiencing all over the world that anytime we go and have dim sum, especially in Asia, there's a fucking thing with the mustard.
Sure. Dijon.
Right?
Yeah.
Anytime we ask for mustard anywhere in Philippines, or let's see what happens when we go to Thailand, there seems to be like this thing that like mustard just doesn't exist outside of the United States. I don't know what that is. I don't know where it comes from.
I find that certain places just don't deal with hot well. Like, don't have like hot sauces. They don't quite understand it. So they just have, where we usually go is in a hotel, and they just have Dijon mustard, so that's what they use.
Yeah, but they don't have Chinese
special.
mustard.
Right.
Chinese mustard only exists in the United States, I feel like.
I know. It's crazy.
It's crazy. So at this point, I'm starting to feel like Chinese mustard is an American invention, but at Yank Sing, they have like their Mount Rushmore of condiments.
And you never have to ask for more. That's what I like. It's in a caddy. It's a caddy shack on the table.
Dude, and so for me...
I slather that shit.
Me too. And then I realized there should be, or is, essentially like a Yank Sing vinaigrette, which is what I make. Now, it's not necessarily a vinaigrette. It's like
right back to days Melewa.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a Yank Sing sauce. So they have their fermented chilies, one part that, their soy sauce, which I think is hysterical that it's in a Kikkoman container.
Is that soy sauce or black vinegar?
It's soy sauce.
Because I didn't.
You don't add that to your Yangtze vinaigrette?
No.
I do. I feel like they're all there for a reason, and they all came to play. So I'm going to put a little bit of each in there. So it's the hot mustard, it's the soy, it's the fermented chili, and it's that weird red sour Chinese vinegar.
Oh, the bright red one.
The bright red one that absolutely is not good for you.
Yes.
It has
I didn't
definitely all kinds of chemicals.
On? Well,
Dude,
you're just mixing it. You're making the sauce.
It's so.
You know what has? I'm sure there's a specific use. Use one for the other, but I just go for the mustard. And I'll use the chili sauce.
Just mustard?
I'll use some chili sauce.
Justard?
I'll use the chili sauce too, but I go straight for the hot
Dude,
mustard.
no. So I make a slurry, right? And I am sure that they look at me in disgust because instead of putting hot tea in the cup that they provide,
Oh man,
I know.
I don't know.
It's the only way that you can get appropriate dips.
That's true. Because it ends up all over the plate, and you're using these little B&B plates anyway that just turn to a little murder scene after a few rounds of the Lazy Susan.
And then it every single thing, whether it's shumai or it's they had these incredible shrimp dumplings with really thin, delicate noodle over top, and it was like a full freaking shrimp in there. Mm-hmm. They had scallop ones. Honestly, the showstopper was the shrimp roll. We got spring rolls, got all kinds of things. The shrimp roll, which I had never had, but it was the first thing that came by. And like we had been waiting in line. This was on New Year's Day, right? So like a well-trained Jewish guy, because all my friends in Cherry Hill taught me the way, which is New Year's Day, many things will not be open, but Chinese food restaurants will be open. And it was like the Super Bowl for Yangtze.
We used to call that crouching tiger, hidden dragon, where you'd try to pick the table that was right next to where the carts would come out, right?
Thankfully, we made a reservation. It was all set up. We got a nice little table right inside, and we're starving. Hungover from the night before. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Had a little bit too much champagne the night before. I think night before was a little Krug 170th 170th blend or whatever. But long story short, or short story long, as soon as we sit, the first cart that goes by is the steamed cart. And it's got shrimp dumplings. It's got pea leaf dumplings. It's got like the showstoppers, right? So we got some shumai. We got shrimp dumplings. And then they had a shrimp roll. And I never had that
before. Is the shrimp roll, what are you calling shrimp roll? Is it fried or? No, it's not fried. So it was, and forgive me if I'm getting the actual menu name incorrect, but it is essentially like a sheet of rice paper, like a pasta sheet. Yeah, it's like kind of loose around it, and they pour a little bit of something over the top. Yeah.
Oh, that thing was fucking
I don't know what,
so
it's
good.
Like taro root something.
Yeah, it reminds me of the same type of noodle that you would see in like a rice, in like a pho, right? Like it has that kind of texture. It's got a little bit of bite to it.
It's a little soggier.
Dude,
I didn't have that on my trip.
I'll never not get that now. That was freaking awesome. So, had that, and then, so Yangtze is a national treasure. I just want to say that. And for anybody who ever goes to San Francisco, you must hit Yangtze. And remember us, when you go in there, use copious amounts of hot mustard. And if you
Don't mix it in the teacup. Don't mix it in the teacup.
Whatever. I mean,
they're going to be like, this guy again.
Yeah, exactly. It's the signature of a non-respecting American man.
So where was next on your tour?
So I had been on a duck kick. Oh, so I'm sure on one of our previous episodes we talked about biome, right? And that whole like gastro whatever test of the foods I should and should not eat. So of course, what I did was make a list of those things and eat them as much as possible. The things you couldn't eat. Right, because all it did was...
It's a holiday.
Yes. So all it did was it motivated me to get those out of my system. I had a lot of duck. And part of my goal was to have the best duck in San Francisco. And I might have to say,
We got duck at Yangsing. You had to special order it, but
they didn't have it when I was there. They were on a little bit of a limited menu. Dude, Yangsing was insane when we went because it was like New Year's Day.
Right.
And they had tables overflowing into the lobby
yeah, they
area.
did when I was there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was really happy to see how busy they were, and they were cranking. They were cranking. But so they didn't have duck that day. So of course it leaves you with a taste for wanting duck. And we went to what we hear and what many people have corroborated on is the best duck in the entire city of San Francisco. We went to a restaurant called The Progress.
I have not heard of this. Is it newer?
So it's part of a restaurant group. I think it's called the Atomics Restaurant Group. And it's a very like storied group because they actually do dim sum modern American style dim sum at one of the restaurants. It's called State Bird Provisions.
Oh, yeah.
They've won
Of
all
course.
kinds of
Yes.
awards.
Yes.
And The Progress is just another one of their restaurants. Not just another one of their restaurants, but it's one of their restaurants. Dude, this was the first place in San Francisco that really opened my eyes to just what the levels of hospitality that there are there. San Francisco to me has always been like one of the top restaurant towns in the US.
Of course.
Right? Big mixing pot. The Mission District and Mission Burritos is supposedly where burritos were invented. Yeah, fuck off, Dallas. Right? There is incredible, community of Asians from the Japanese to the Chinese. We just talked about Yangsing. And, having Napa and all these like natural splendor all throughout California also lends to like what is a very vibrant like ingredient list for these chefs to come up. And of course, it's like a top city in terms of like money and financials and all that.
Well, of course, like all these things, you should always shop within 50 miles of your restaurant. You can do that at a place.
You can do that there.
Like in California.
Yeah, you can do that there. And it's very much like parts of Europe where I always make fun of the chefs because I'm like, it's not really cooking, you know what I mean? You can get a local
shopping.
Tomato. Yeah, local tomato,
That's an ultra, like,
local olive oil.
There was a restaurant years ago, and I'm going to butcher this a little bit because it was a long time ago, that served like a peach on a plate for dessert. And that was like their dessert.
Yeah, just the glory of peach.
So it got like kind of not a bad rap, a little bit of a jokey rap in some culinary circles because of that. They're like, that's not cooking, it's shopping.
Yeah, well, it is. It is. And that's why you choose where you know.
Yeah, but also you don't got to do something to
make it amazing.
Exactly.
Something's amazing. Let it be amazing. So we went to the Progress, and they're famous for their duck. So they take the dark parts of the meat, the legs, right, the leg and the thigh, smoked, right, and that maybe fried after it's smoked. It was
crispy.
It was fucking so good, but the presentation is just incredible.
Show me the photo again.
Yeah. So it's they take the breast and do this beautiful slice of the breast. And man, it's just, they slice it down, and then in the middle of the plate is this delicious stir-fried rice with peanuts. I think it has some fresh herbs, like Thai basil and stuff. And
was it like a pancake of any sorts? Crepe?
No, I just I ate. It was duck and rice and crunchy and refreshing from the herbs.
I was just curious if how far they were going to take the Peking thing.
I didn't. The duck, it was a showstopper. Like my mouth's watering, and I can't wait.
It looks fantastic.
Can't wait to go back. So check this out. We had brought a bottle of wine in, right? The culture, Philadelphia, get your shit together. I'm calling this out right now. San Francisco is so geared towards the wine collector. Every restaurant has a very clearly stated on their wine list corkage fee. It ranges from let's call it $25 to, in some cases, $100, and I'll go there at some point in our show. But it was really nice to see.
But the range is on per
They
restaurant.
throw it right on the wine list.
But it's like
It ranges depending on the restaurant.
there's not a range at the restaurant.
No, that's correct. And they're very, most of the restaurants are very accommodating. So in other words, they're like, hey, as long as this wine is not on our wine list, and you can bring up to 2
I never
bottles.
thought about that it shouldn't be on the list itself. Obviously, that makes perfect sense. But
I think because, of course, with Napa and Sonoma
Right.
and the Anderson Valley, all these different wine areas close, and such a culture of going to visit these wineries and being on their mailing lists and stuff, California has it right, which is we have great wine list, but if you want to bring in great wine or you want to bring in any wine,
Enjoy.
we're going to charge you for it.
Right.
But come up,
corkage.
bring it in.
Right.
Corkage, right?
But we should hold off on that.
Yeah.
Just the corkage thing is some people get bent out of shape about it, but you're using their glassware, they're opening it.
Yes.
There are things surrounding the wine that isn't just the wine itself, right?
Oh my gosh, yes, of course. Listen, I think that corkage is appropriate and it should be charged.
Why do you think
by
it's
the
appropriate?
restaurant. Well, like you said, we're going to use my
Did
glassware.
I miss anything, I guess, with my
No,
question?
you're going to use my glassware. We want to give you proper service. And, I'm here to make money. I'm a restaurant. I'm here to, I'm in business to, be sustainable and operate.
Mm-hmm.
But geez, man, I am part of the problem. Sommeliers are always part of the problem, and I am part of the problem, right? So let me just say I'm checking myself also. There was a point in time where I was annoyed. When I was an operator, I was annoyed when people wanted to bring their own wine. Not if it was a cool, special wine.
Right.
But let me tell you, in Atlantic City, we had a lot of people that would just bring a magnum of Pinot Grigio, like some dog shit.
Right.
Right? And they expected you to open it for them. And I think that back then, of course, look, you want to make sure people are happy, and you're going to do what you can to accommodate. And we always would come up with some fabrication as to why you couldn't bring your own alcohol.
There was no corkage fee? Or you just thought that was...
We would discourage it, right? And I would do the same in Pennsylvania.
How do you
right?
discourage it when they're already at the restaurant?
Well, that's the thing, is then you have to figure it out. Then you accommodate, right? But we would discourage, people call and say, hey, is there a corkage fee? We fabricated some fucking lie, and I think this is a lie.
You just triple it or something?
Unless there is some legal expert that maybe can validate or invalidate this for us. We would say, hey, the state of Pennsylvania has very strict laws, and unless you have a receipt showing the PL that you purchased this in Pennsylvania,
God, you guys.
I know, we're fucking assholes, and I'm sorry. And now that I'm doing a little bit of collecting of wine, and more importantly, that I want to have something that maybe is better than what's available on the wine list, I totally appreciate and understand the importance of BYO, especially in a place like PA, where it's extravagantly expensive for very simple wines.
Does the BYO in Philly, do they charge a corkage?
Not BYOs, forgive me,
Okay.
but of course, if there's a liquor license at restaurants, in most cases, they will charge you a corkage.
So just for the crowd that's outside of Pennsylvania,
Yes.
Both of you, restaurants, there's a lot of BYOs that don't have a liquor license.
Yes, in those cases, if a restaurant doesn't have a liquor license, in most cases they won't charge you
Right.
corkage fee. If a restaurant does have a liquor license, and in many cases they'll fabricate some bullshit on why you can't bring your wine in. I don't know that it's true or not, but I think it's relevant and important.
No, it's not true. If you made it up.
Yeah, I made the shit up.
Right, so
I made the shit up, or it was whatever.
So why are you asking if it's true or not when you made it up? You know it's not true.
Well, when the lies become part of your pathological existence, you know what I mean?
You can't remember.
So
You can't remember anymore
We
if you
fabricated
make
the same shit at the casinos. Hey, the Casino Control Commission,
Right.
which is true, is very strict. They're on top of us. We really can't bring stuff in. We can't allow you to bring something in because it goes against the laws of the casino. That may be true, honestly. In Atlantic City, I don't see them being cool with you bringing in your shit to consume on the at least on the gaming floor. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm sure there's some delicacies and intricacies and all that.
Sure.
But we were always trying to discourage corkage because we wanted you to buy wine off of our list.
Of course.
Right?
You wanted the tip.
We wanted the tip, and so I think in a future episode we're gonna have to talk about the details and the decorum and the importance of corkage and how to navigate that properly.
We just did it.
Well, And
there's
tipping is
there's
part of
even
this,
more.
right?
There's
So
even
at
more.
the Progress, right?
Okay.
I brought in this really cool Burgundy, a 2018 Vaucrin from Robert Chevion.
Did you get it here?
I got it in San Francisco because I wanted to see how that vintage was doing, which, by the way, if anybody's interested in knowing whether 18 Chevion Vaucrin is ready to drink, bro, it is a baby. It is very far from being ready to drink. Notorious producer for longevity, but more importantly, don't open those bottles.
How long do you think?
Anyway,
If you tasted
10 years from now.
10 years?
It is like so not ready.
Wow.
You know, beautiful. Lots of style. Not ready to
Has
drink.
some growing up to do.
Has some growing up to do. So, but check this out. Check out this interaction. So, come in, bring a bottle. Server was super nice. And I was like, hey, we were going to order a bottle off the list because it says that if you order and not because, but we wanted to have a white and a red. And it mentions on the list that if you bring a bottle, here's the corkage. But if you buy something off the list, it crosses out the corkage fee. Just wanted to know if that's true or if I was reading something wrong. And I'm between a few different wines. If anybody, if you have any recommendations. And he said, you know what? The wine director is on the floor. Let me send him over. This guy was a fucking master. He was cool. He was sweet. Within moments, we're talking about places we worked, about people we knew. And dude, the hospitality just started oozing out of this guy. His name was Adam Robbins. What a fucking magician. It was really awesome. Let me see. Let me make sure I'm saying this dude's, yes, Adam Robbins. Dude, like, he was so sweet, comes over, looks at the bottle, goes, you work in the industry? I'm like, not anymore, but I used to. And he's like, yeah, I could tell just by looking at the wine you brought in, right? So cool. We start talking about wines. He doesn't steer me out of my first choice, which was Comte Lafon Merceau, 19, doesn't matter. He was great. He starts sending some dishes out and talking to me about the industry and how everything's changed in San Francisco.
What was changed?
And one of the things he brought up, which was also brought up by the next night's dinner, was the fact that the sommelier is a position that is slowly dying out. And when I was coming up in the industry, San Francisco was like a pinnacle market to try to go to. One, because of course you have access to all like the wine growing regions, but also because there was money, there was people interested in and collecting wines, and it was like one of the spots to be in, like Larry Stone at Rubicon and Raj Par at Mina
once upon a time.
And Gary Danko and and Aquarello, all these incredible dining restaurants that really, that was a place to be. There was incredibly dynamic tasting groups, and it was like, when I was growing up, if you wanted to be a somm and you wanted to reach that top level, there's really like 3 or 4 places. It's San Francisco, it's Chicago, it's New York, and it was Vegas. That was it. Those are the places to be a somm.
I wouldn't have thought that Vegas would come up on that list.
Vegas became one.
They have like a lot
time.
of, right.
And you worked at one of those spots that was like a pinnacle wine restaurant, Oriole.
Yep.
At the Mandalay
Bay, they had the wine tower in the dining room.
with the angels, right?
The wine angels who'd rappel from the ceilings and choose your wine.
Yeah. So, but Adam Robbins was
the sommelier at the time married one of the wine angels. I remember.
I mean, it makes sense. I hope she didn't turn into a wine devil over time. But anyway, or that he didn't. But it was an impeccable meal. There was so much great hospitality. They sent some dishes out for us to try. They had this really incredible potato.
So wait, this is still the duck place?
This is the duck place, Progress. So long story short, thank you, Adam. It was fantastic.
What else did you have besides the duck, though?
Dude, we had so many cool dishes. I mean,
Just the 2-top? Because that duck plate was huge.
It was a 2-top, yeah. And we
rolled out of that place?
We ate like monsters, yeah. Let's see here. Oops. So we had, as I mentioned, the most ridiculous duck in San Francisco. Maybe the duck of the year so far.
That looks like the duck of the year, honestly.
Dude, it was so freaking good. We also had, let's see here. an incredible ceviche dish. We had, dude. I mean, there's too much going on in here.
Cool.
Let me just say. But if you're in San Francisco, go to the Progress, ask for Adam, and have a great
some
freaking
wine.
dinner. Yes.
Pay the corkage.
Pay the corkage.
Or don't. Or get two bottles and
Get
don't.
2 bottles and don't pay the corkage.
There you go.
Insider thing. All right. So the hospitality didn't end there, though, Tony. The next day, another badass that I got to meet. This guy's another old school, in the business forever, also worked for the Michael Mina Group, also had some shared connections. And honestly...
Did you work for Michael Mina?
No, I didn't, but I worked at...
Oh, our friend Barrage. That's right.
Yes, BJ. Yeah. So in my Atlantic City days, when I worked at Bobby Flay Steak, the next door neighbor like literally shared a wall with the Michael Mina guys at a restaurant called Sea Blue. Who would have known decades later that you and I would be doing what we do, and the chef at that restaurant was your old roommate
from culinary school,
BJ Patel. He was a wild man, and he ran a great kitchen. That food was pumping, but I remember that
place was like a wood-fired grill place, right? Did they have a wood-fired like kind of contraption grill? Sea Blue, wasn't that their thing? It was all wood-fired fish?
It was fish for sure. It was also, it's been blocked from my memory.
First of all, let's go back a while. I didn't mean to pull that up.
No, it's okay. For that conversation. I think the last and only time I ever walked into that kitchen was because I was going to ask BJ for a lobster. And he
borrow a lobster for someone in your dining
during service, yeah, because we ran out. It might have been a lobster or it might have been foie. Something simple. They always, those motherfuckers always borrowed stuff from us.
Borrowed.
Yeah. Dude, they borrowed everything. Every fucking day it was something, right? And we're gracious and nice. And dude, I walked in that kitchen, and I don't know if I was set up by the executive chef that I was working with, but I walk in, and BJ just looked at me, and he goes, "What the fuck are you doing in my kitchen?" And I was like, "Hey, chef, I just need..." He's like, "Get the fuck out!" Like, he didn't not even the conversation, not even like, "X, I'm busy. Write it down."
Must have been a rough day.
Dude, he fucking freaked on me, and that was the one and only time I ever walked into that fucking kitchen. And from that moment on, I was like, fuck the
What did you do about the customer who wanted the lobster? Where did you get it from? You're like, no, sorry.
I walked out, 86. And I was like, fuck that. I'll never walk into that kitchen again. I never did. There were some cool guys, and listen, we had some fun times. Yeah. We drank some Burgundy some nights. He talked shit. I talked shit. It's all good. But I only walked into that kitchen one time, and I never walked into that kitchen ever again. Anyway, so, but this guy I met, his name was Giancarlo, man, and I have not seen a Somm with such grace on the floor in a long time. So, New Year's Eve, we decided to go to a place called Acquarello. Acquarello is a 2-star Michelin.
Oh, so before this was all before New Year's Eve.
That's correct.
Got it.
Now we're on New Year's Day.
And
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, and why did you choose this as the big night?
Well, part of the reason was because his name's not Giancarlo.
Because I had pizza from Costco for New Year's Eve.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, look, man, it's like you're in I guess I wanted to go against I wanted to try and break through my service and restaurant years trauma and actually go out and dine, have a nice time, not do riff-raffy stuff, do something a little bit more higher end. And boy, was it. And at the same time...
Was it a special menu?
It's New Year's at a 2-star Michelin. I mean, I walked into a trap.
Yes.
Let's just start there. So, Tony, let me start by saying this was the most expensive meal I have ever had.
That's a shocking statement.
Ever.
What, more expensive than that dinner we had in Miami that time? Because I was shocked at how expensive that was.
Yeah.
What was the name of that place?
Claw. And that was a great meal.
It was like $1,000.
All right, so this is a 2-top.
How the hell am I going to explain this to our CFO?
I paid for it.
You paid for it personally?
Of course I did.
No, I mean the claw one. I was saying once I got that bill, I was so in shock. I was like, I'm going to throw up.
Well,
I'm like, it'll be like 600 or something. And it was $1,000. And you knew the sommelier there too. They were
boy, did I.
what?
Boy, did I. Oh, what a great dude. So anyway, the mindset was, okay, it's New Year's. I'm in San Francisco. Want to have a great time. Let's just go have a good time. Right? Go have a great meal.
We haven't had enough good times. Let's turn it up to 11.
Let's turn the year in style, right? So I looked up a bunch of different restaurants, and part of what really attracted me to Aquarello, number one, it's been there for years. Aquarello.
Huh.
It's been there for years. I mean, I haven't heard of that. It's I want to say it's like 40 years old.
Okay.
And it's a restaurant that's evolved over time. And one of the things that was really attractive to me is it had an incredible wine list. And there's a wine that I had my first experience with called Burlotto from the Canubi Vineyard that I was like, ooh, that looks great. And then I started looking at menus, and that looked all great. And I ended up, so we made a reservation, and the reservation...
Did not bring your own wine. You're looking forward to the menu.
I did bring my own wine.
Oh, you did?
I brought one bottle because I wanted to have...
Because you're like, this place is great. They were not going to charge me corkage on this if I bring one and order one.
Well, I mean, that, and I just didn't...
Did you think that might have been like a San Francisco thing or like a standard? Because I'm sensing where this might go.
Well, no. Listen, so we go in. Part of the reason I brought the wine in was because I had purchased 2 wines from a really cool little wine shop. One was for the Progress. One was for Aquarello.
Okay.
And I just wanted to have a badass bottle of champagne, and I didn't want to pay champagne prices, right? Which they have an incredible list, and they have some really well-priced stuff. And I mean, like any place would, they're gonna bang you over the head if you want to have like a bottle of Dom or whatever. On New Year's especially. So we brought in a champagne, and the Somm was super gracious, and I was watching him work the floor, and it was just one Somm doing pairings and opening bottles, and really like what. So I gotta shout this guy out, Gianpaolo Paterlini, right? Fucking was rocking the floor. I loved seeing this, especially after the conversation I had with Adam, which I didn't even get to. But just like doing pairings, interacting with tables, he spent the time to talk to me through a whole range of Borlotto wines that they have. And he was incredible. He also threw out a dish for us. He had the kitchen prepare a dish for us so that we could pair it with our wine. And you could really feel the hospitality, but he reiterated a lot of the things that Adam said, and that's the following. The wine scene and the restaurant scene has really changed in San Francisco. What used to be like the pinnacle and like a bunch of like incredible hospitality people throughout the city, they're starting to leave. And not only are they starting to leave, but all the pressures from rent, cost of living, and all of the different factors.
So it wasn't the pandemic, or
I'm sure it spurred some of
the pandemic, but it was after that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like high quality. One, restaurants are doing everything they can to remain competitive and sustainable. So, I mean, it's not like the restaurants necessarily they're doing what they can to survive. But then on top of that, it seems like a lot of people that are diners are leaving San Francisco in droves, and there just isn't the same dynamic diner that used to be in the city. So those pressures have made it so that the Somm as a position is slowly starting to just completely leave the entire city. And these 2 guys, I mean, they were probably in my age, 40-ish, right? And maybe a little older, maybe a little younger, but you could tell they've been in the industry their whole life. They love what they do. They're craftspeople. They're into wine. They're into service. But it sounds like it's a dying breed. And it sounds like as people leave...
Well, they're a dying breed here, but...
In San Francisco.
There's still people becoming sommeliers.
There certainly is,
right.
But it got me thinking, is this a position that's no longer around? Is this a position that's not, that's slowly starting to go away? I don't know.
Or I keep saying here, but we're not in San Francisco. Right, in San Francisco.
I wonder. Well, in San Francisco for sure.
I would think that would just be the epicenter.
That's what I've always felt like and thought. So anyway, seeing these guys like just run the floor and do such a great job, and
because something doesn't cost the restaurant that much beyond like carrying the inventory, right?
You know, I've always thought that a Somm would pay itself back in droves as long as they're not drinking all the inventory. Yeah. But like, you know, like one in my two experiences, the Somms, I mean, there was great servers, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. I love the Black Merlot, but these guys really were anchors to the experience, and they took the time to be tableside, and they loved talking about food and places to go and all that stuff, and they really made the experiences. So you know, anyway, it was shocking, honestly, knowing that Silicon Valley and all this money gets dumped out there, and there's that, you know, something like sommeliers is slowly starting to go away.
Interesting.
Dude, Aquarello was a great meal. The service was impeccable. The room was cool. You could tell that all. Do you
think that? I'm sorry. I'm just who knows, but I find that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that places are selling less wine, or they just don't have a need for they don't think that they have a need for a sommelier on the floor?
You know, I wish I could ask these guys the question. Right. My opinion, there's such a strain on labor costs, and there's such a strain on food costs and rent and everything else, that it might feel like there isn't room in the budget for anything beyond a manager and a couple other things. It should be part of the tip pool.
However that works, but you're also there to sell.
Correct.
Right? You're there to sell.
Yeah.
And not necessarily rake people over the coals, but to help them find what they want so they come back, and maybe not always
develop relationships.
Push you to a more expensive wine necessarily, right? But to maybe sell you an extra bottle, maybe that dessert wine at the end of the night. You know, if you believe in what they're doing, you have you can put your faith in their hands, right?
Yeah. I mean, and you know, it might be sentimental for me because I was a Somm for so long. And I know what an impact you can have on a diner's experience, and I know what an impact you can have on sales when you find the right person to, like, you know, when they want to show off or whatever, like, help them. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I couldn't tell you. I mean, it's sad. It's sad, especially like again, like one of the bastions of the wine world. It was striking.
Things ebb and flow.
They do. I remember somebody told me that the sommelier was a dying breed and told me to switch to being a GM in like 2005. No, 2010 or so. And then the whole wine world exploded from there. I'm like, I'll never listen to somebody again about that.
Well, if it's dying there, it's growing somewhere else.
Yeah, fair enough. So
maybe not even in the States, you know?
So that's true, exactly. So Aquarello was a fantastic meal from top to bottom. We had
the most expensive.
I can read the menu for you.
Okay, great.
So we had a really beautiful little canapes to start, or amuse-bouche, however you want to. Parmesan crustade with venison tartare and truffles.
It's very Thomas Keller.
Oh.
Well, not with venison, but with salmon, you know?
Oh.
The coronet was like a coronet.
True. A buckwheat tartlet with duck liver mousse and huckleberry. And a bluefin tuna cannoli with boniato aioli and preserved lemon. That was just 3 little bites to start.
So this was a set menu.
This was a set menu. Next course, Maine lobster with passion fruit, winter radishes, and olio nuovo. And bro, that lobster was one of the best lobsters I've had in a long time.
Really?
It was beautiful. Passion fruit was like in the sauce. It was incredibly floral and like, it was great, and the lobster was cooked perfectly. We then had grilled scallop with chestnut, smoked onion, and Perigord truffle. And, you know, part of my compulsion to enjoy.
Did you up it?
Yes. What do you think goes on top with that?
Caviar.
Yeah. So there was an optional N25 Reserve Osetra Caviar supplement for $85. Of course. Got to do it. If you're going to spend the money, right? That's what I'm thinking in my head.
85 each. Correct?
Each.
Yeah.
Then I had a Wagyu beef. It was a really beautifully done piece of Wagyu beef with honey nut squash, black trumpet mushrooms, and pickled onions. Was a great dish. Also, Gianpaolo was kind enough to send a little course, which was beautiful handmade pasta and this really interesting foie, like a caramelized foie and like soy reduction that went really well with the champagne. He was kind enough to send that out. And then to finish, we had all these desserts that honestly we were full and we couldn't even eat them. But yeah, it was a fantastic meal. Incredible service. Yeah, all right. Guess how much it was?
Well, knowing some of your prior meals, and this being the most expensive meal, I'm going to say 1,200 bones. What?
Keep going.
More 1,600?
More.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dude, I was not prepared for this.
So you were not? I mean, you ordered, wait. There are prices on the menu.
Yeah.
Right? You go and you sit down, you're like, I'll have the menu. It's $4.50 a pop, whatever.
It was $3.50 a pop.
$3.50 a pop plus the plus the
caviar
plus
supplement.
the caviar supplement. Were there any other supplements?
So it was two.
So it's $4.30 a pop for the menu.
So it was caviar service, $2.85, and it was a nice little, solid dollop.
Sure.
A solid dollop. It was the New Year's Eve menu, which you love, right?
Yeah.
Because as soon as you put New Year's Eve in the line of them, double it. So that's $3.50. There was a bottle of Barolo.
Okay.
$3.50.
Oh, so there's more than two. I thought there was just the bottle you brought and one more bottle, but there was more than that.
It was the bottle I brought and one more bottle.
Okay.
The Barolo $3.50, and then I was charged corkage, which at Aquarello is 100 bones.
100 bones for
100
corkage.
bones. But nice glassware and all that.
Sure.
But I was not prepared.
So I haven't even
for this.
gotten there yet.
No, you
I haven't
haven't.
even guessed high enough.
No, you
But
haven't.
wait, how okay,
How,
the Barolo must have been.
It was $350, and it was gorgeous.
Oh, we're talking with tip.
This is with tip, and let me just throw out there a surcharge for employee benefits.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, okay, 1,800?
$1,838
Wow.
and 59 fucking cents.
And there was a surcharge for, I saw this as well. We were talking about this before the cast. There's a 5%, I don't know if it's every place in San Francisco, but a 5% health insurance.
It's not every
surcharge.
place in San
Okay.
Francisco, because I'm going to tell you about, we'll wrap it up after this.
Okay.
So look, staff, incredible, right? Almost every team member, it feels like, has been in that dining room.
Do they all look very healthy? They must all be exceedingly healthy with that 5% surcharge for healthcare.
The healthcare benefits. Yeah, you could tell that all of them were on Ozempic.
Can we tuck into this for a bit?
Yes,
The
go ahead.
5% surcurge. So,
But we're going to touch this on the next episode.
all right. Next episode,
Yes.
5% surcharge for whatever.
Okay. All right. So, listen, fantastic, great meal, recommended. I've never spent that much money on dinner. It still hurts to talk about. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. Mom, don't judge me. Mom, I'm so sorry.
Was that your final meal in San Francisco?
No.
Oh, God.
It wasn't, but look, nothing for the rest of time, I don't think will ever compare to this. And it was
The
New Year's.
experience was fantastic. It was
It
New
was
Year's. You had
great.
a good time.
It was
all
great. And the
worth
team
it? Would you do
was-
it again? In 5 years.
Yeah, sure.
It'll
With
be
inflation and all.
$3,000
Yeah,
by that
dude.
time,
It was
but-
just I can't. That's rent.
Yeah.
That's rent.
That's a tough one.
That's rent. And I feel a little bit guilty about it.
Do
And if my
you-
father was alive, my father, who is powdered dust, right? Came back together as a human and fucking slapped me in the face when I was looking. I went back to the hotel, looked at myself in the eyes, was brushing my teeth, and I think I saw my father's ghost.
Yeah.
Fucking like looking at me with like just incredibly disappointed. Anyway, it was great, and I don't regret it. I
But you
just
wouldn't do it
can't
again.
believe it.
Right.
I can't believe it. Anyway,
You just couldn't add those things up in your head. You were going there. You're going to have a good time.
Yeah,
You
I wasn't worried.
You knew it was
about
going to be expensive. How much did you just ballpark it was going to be?
$1,200
before you got right.
$1,200,
Right.
something like that, right? And that's still
How much was the wine?
insane. $350.
Oh, you said that.
But it's $350 plus gratuity, which is 20%, plus 5%, and then plus
$100
taxes,
for the, yes,
which is another 10%.
Yeah.
On top of all that, and that shit adds up fast. Essentially, anything you buy.
So it's not just sommeliers that are. It's probably the entire fine dining restaurant industry.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, that's slowly. And honestly, looking at the crowd, you know what I mean? Like we were definitely the youngest,
other diners.
The other diners. We were definitely the youngest people eating there, and it felt like it felt like a
You're no
throwback.
spring chicken.
I know, but dude,
you can be a spring chicken if you want, but you're not.
You
You're the
know,
youngest.
I want to be a chicken. I want to be a little baby quail. You know what I mean? It's just I'm grasping to stay young, but it is what it is.
All right.
Well, with all that said, listen, everyone. I don't know if you know it. So, thank you, San Francisco. Thank you, Gianpaolo. Thank you, Adam.
Thanks for letting me tell my
thank
food
you,
stories,
Adrian.
Xavier. Thanks for hogging the whole hour.
Listen, you're good at complaining, so this whole next episode is yours.
Fantastic.
But
See you there.
If anybody doesn't know this, we have a great television show on YouTube.
Is it?
It's YouTube. It's on the interwebs. I think it's great. If anybody's interested in learning more about our antics or whatever, check it out.
That's
it's
where we do
Overseasoned
travel.
TV.
That's where we're out of the podcast studio.
That's correct. And then you can see us.
We went to Argentina, had some great interviews down there.
We had some
Those
awesome
are up
times.
there on there now.
And then we spent a lot of time throughout Bogota. We spent time. If you're interested in seeing what we look like in the wild, it's a great place to check us out. Thanks for listening to Overseasoned, and we'll catch you soon.
Thank you very much.
Overseasoned podcast was brought to you by Over Easy Office, outsourced bookkeeping solution.